So the other day a brand new game was shown off at the Xbox showcase, and what the heck, this is Game Freak? Yes, a big surprise, this game shown off called Beast of Reincarnation is actually being developed by Game Freak and published by Fictions for release on Xbox and PC. And right away the thing you're going to notice is that this is an action RPG with a story, voice acting, and realistic looking graphics. So this has of course made the discussion for Pokemon weird, interesting, and somehow even more toxic, with a lot of people comparing screenshots of it too. Of course using the lowest quality images possible of other Pokemon games, but the thing is obviously for me looking at this game, it feels kind of interesting. So for one thing obviously this is using a more realistic style, very similar to a lot of other games in the genre, and that does make sense. Watching the trailer, you still see some weird little things with the frame rate being funny, and possibly some of the textures, so I don't want to say that like, oh yeah, definitely this is not the perfect looking game, so it's still Game Freak. What I'm saying is that this is different from Pokemon being developed by a different team inside of Game Freak, almost definitely given a different amount of development time. It should also go without saying, but this is a trailer, we haven't seen the actual game just yet. If anything, I think this is a great opportunity for Game Freak to show off what it can really do with a different console and a different style, and when they don't have the, extremely tight time constraints. Yeah, I don't think it looks very different stylistically from other games in the genre, but I am really curious because it is so different from what Game Freak would normally make. But all of the non-Pokemon stuff that Game Freak has put out has been normally either like 2D or like very simple 3D, smaller things. So this one being a really big project just has me interested in how it's all going to shake out. With a recent update to Scarlet and Violet, now that it actually runs very well, it does kind of highlight the fact that the game doesn't really look all that amazing. I think the style is a little weird and off for Pokemon, and of course a lot of the textures are not the best, which when seen on a big TV will be really obvious. Of course, the whole thing, graphics don't matter, but it just would be nice for that polish to be put in, potentially in the same way that we're seeing in this new game, Beast of Reincarnation. But like I said, we just have a trailer for this game, the whole thing isn't out yet, so we can't really compare everything just yet. Though my perspective on the whole thing is that I think it's good overall, and I'm actually kind of excited. This isn't exactly the type of thing that I'm into, but because it is Game Freak, I do want to try it out and see what maybe it learned from Pokemon or what Pokemon could learn from this, and then after the game is finished, it can only be good for future Pokemon games. Because if Beast of Reincarnation took the time it needed to be developed and is received very well, and if all the people working on it could contribute something to the Pokemon franchise, then really things only get better from here, because now we're seeing that Game Freak really does feel comfortable tackling something bigger if they're given the time. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of seeing this more as the whole 2 cake situation.